Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, where we bring you a weekly dose of powerlifting news, tips, and training advice with a touch of 80s rock ballads. This podcast is presented by Team Roar Powerlifting, your source of the most comprehensive coaching and meet day preparation. Here are your hosts, Josh Rohr and Lara Sturm.
All right, welcome to episode 17 of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast. I am Josh Rohr.
And I'm Lara Sturm.
All right, we are going to get right into it real quick. I want to start with a pet peeve, and then we're going to get to our guest. I had another pet peeve that revealed itself to me, so I'm going to talk about it. I went into the gym on Wednesday, and there was either water or sweat or something all over the floor. And it occurred to me that this happened last Wednesday and also this previous Wednesday. So needless to say, if that was you, I am going to be going through the security cameras and figuring out who you are and publicly shaming you for a very long time, because it's not even about, so the problem for me is it's not even about it being disgusting. It's just the fact that you left it there. That's what bothers me. So you're on notice, whoever you are. I'll find you.
Sweat Angel.
Sweat Angel, Sweat Angel.
Yeah. Ew.
All right. So moving on, our special guest today, we're going to talk about some of her accolades real quick and then introduce her. So she is a 4-time IPF world champion, a 4-time Raw Nationals champion. She has multiple American records and multiple state records. And another one of my pet peeves is when people don't pronounce my name right. So here to speak on that is Miss Alicia Webb.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so very much.
Oh man, I thought that would be a fun little segue. So
very much so. Cool. I get that a lot.
Yeah. So for the record, her name is spelled just like you would spell Alicia, but it's pronounced Alicia.
Correct.
And I've made that mistake for years, and I think I finally have it down now. I just call you Lee.
Yes, very much so.
I've made the same mistake, though. And I have a pet peeve when people pronounce my name Lara Sturm. So I get it.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
And as a fun little note, Lara forgot all about recording the podcast today, so she is on her phone out in the middle of nowhere somewhere chopping up trees.
Yeah. So I as my other job, I get to help Dan with his moving trees, and you get to pick up things and feed them into the death machine. So it's kind of fun. Chipper.
The death machine.
Yes. And we had a big storm in Atlanta last night, so there was lots of trees down. So
yes.
I think a lot of people were without power. Luckily, or unluckily for people listening, I don't know, but the power came back on so we can record this.
Luckily or unluckily.
Yeah, depending on your perspective. All right. So Lee, let's get into some questions here.
All righty.
And feel free to elaborate or go off on your own tangents. We're usually very strict with staying on topic on this podcast. Not really. So we had a couple questions that came in from some listeners. The first one was, has your school ever asked you to help with some strength training for the kids there?
In actuality, they did. They wanted me to start a females powerlifting group. And as I got some girls that were interested and wanted to join, the whole football team was required to join as well. And the girls were intimidated by the males being on the team. So we kind of dissipated it.
So
that's so sad.
Yeah, that is. There's no way you can just keep it as or make them two separate entities or something.
No, they didn't want to. They wanted the guys on the football team to have the same advantage and being taught by or being helped by a female to see what the female would have to offer them. They wanted the guys to actually be in, and we couldn't keep them separate.
I mean, I actually like that idea, but it kind of goes against the idea of it if the girls don't want to do it because of
Correct.
that.
They were very much so intimidated.
Yeah. I'm sure high school girls would be. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
I have to think on that more. We need to figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Second question. This is kind of related to the first one. Probably should have asked it in the other order. Do the students you teach know how strong you are?
Majority of them, not at all. They have no clue. I'm one of those people that I keep my work keys separate from my house keys, separate from my car keys. So if I lose one set, I'm lose everything. Well, I kind of do my life like that too. So work is separate from my powerlifting, that's separate from everything else that I do. So there are some students that have gotten smart and they Google their teachers. And when they see my resume from them Googling, it's kind of like, Miss Webb, is this you? And so I kind of tell them, shh, don't tell anybody. But then I have some people that completely look up to me and is always asking questions, just on the side. But I've been able to keep this semester so far, none of my students know. Not that I'm keeping it a secret. It's just that it doesn't come up. So.
Gotcha.
Do you always get the, wow, you're so strong, I'm scared of you?
Yes, I get, well, they're already scared of me because I have big eyes. But yeah, I get that. And I also get parents to come in for a parent teacher conference just to meet the strong lady. Is this the strong lady, your teacher? So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's why I'm scared of you.
Is it the teaching aspect?
All of the above.
Okay.
Being strong, being a teacher. I don't know. Anyway, so my question for you is, between me and Lara, who's your favorite?
Both of you. Both of you. How can you ever pick?
Well, that's a nice.
And why would you?
That's a nice answer, but I know the real answer. So
you both have handled me.
So my answer, or my quick response to that, if you didn't immediately say both of you, like if you hesitated for any amount of time, I mean, I know the real answer. I know if you had to choose, you would choose Lara. So I was going to say, I mean, it's no secret. So I was going to say, after like a second of hesitation, I was going to say, nope, never mind, question withdrawn, and move on. But you were very good at being politically correct and saying both right off the bat.
Most definitely. I have strict parents that I learned from, and I have a plethora of siblings that I have learned from. So I know how to be quick on my feet.
Yeah, that was very good. I'm impressed.
Right.
So I guess just a little bit, just kind of tell us how you got into powerlifting, what your kind of experience has been, and I guess we'll kind of go from there, just for people that don't know who you are.
Okay. So I started out being a high school teacher, and going to HBCU before being a high school teacher. They tell you that you gain your college 10. Well, I probably gained the college 25. And little by little, my weight progressed out of character. And by the time I was coaching for the high school, I was coaching a step team. My health had really, really gotten bad. And I was diagnosed high blood pressure, high cholesterol, which ran in my family. But then I was also diagnosed type 2 diabetic, which does not run in my family. So I gave up the coaching aspect in order to kind of concentrate on learning how to live, learning how to eat, learning how to survive. My doctor gave me a small synopsis of very few people can turn this around, reverse diabetes, but it is possible. And when he gave me that little bit of a glimpse, I had to be the person that proved to him that I was going to be in that little bitty number. And so I got into exercising, and one of my friends introduced me to CrossFit Decatur, which was so far out of my realm. The first time I did a workout there, I passed out. The second time I did a workout, I blacked out. The third time I did a workout, I left that sweat angel on the floor, literally laid out. But after the third time, I was addicted. I was addicted because it was functional movement that we do on a daily basis. You didn't need any weights or anything special, that you could get the best workout for you individually. And I love the fact that you could modify. In learning my body and learning how to exercise and get a dietitian to learn how to eat right, and change my mentality, I realized, or I was pointed out, that I was the strongest woman in the gym, and in the top 5 strongest men in the gym. So the strength aspect was just natural. And the coaches there, the owner, Eric Willis, and the coaches there kind of took me under their wing to develop the strength side of it. And as I got stronger, of course, trying to be a team member, the team, if it was a running ass exercise, I was the last. But if it was a strength exercise, I was in the forefront. They kind of pulled me to the side and was just like, look, you're not just a team member. You need to do something more with this. This is a God-given talent. So we want to enter you into a powerlifting competition. I was like, what is that? I don't do competitions individually. So the first competition that they actually entered me in was it was in the month of October in 2012, and it was a state meet, and it was all the way in what was it? I can't even remember.
Warner Robins, Georgia.
Warner Robins, yes. And so they entered me in the month before, so it wasn't like I trained for anything. I just kind of went in there free spirited. And the night before, my car started acting up. So I called my line sister. She let me borrow her truck. And I drove in. Nobody drove with me. I showed up on the scene and I put in my numbers at weigh-in. And the person who weighed me in was like, are you sure you know what this means? And I was like, yeah, of course I do. And so go out and sitting out, eating, trying to get rehydrated. And I didn't really know anything about cutting at that time. But I had several people to come out and ask me if I was sure about the numbers. And of course I was like, what is going on? So I called back my coach because they were still working. And I called him and told him what was going on. And they was just like, Lee, it is okay. They're probably going to ask you 100 times. You fine. And so I was like, do I need to lower them to make them feel better? And he just kind of laughed at me. And he was like, do what you need to do. We just want you to have fun in this competition. So I'm sitting there. It's almost time for the meeting to start in the morning where they explain the rules. And of course, me being new, only signing up a month before, I didn't know the rules. Out comes this young man that just happened to introduce himself as the meet director. And there was another person that was with him. And he walks up to me. He's like, Alicia Webb. And of course, I'm looking around like, they still messing up my name. Okay, I'm here.
That guy sounds like a real jerk.
I mean, I was a little nervous though, because when he introduced himself, he was like, I'm the meet director. I'm putting all of this on. And I'm just like, okay, what did I do? And he was like, these numbers that you're putting in, are you sure about these? Do you know what they mean? And I was like, okay, you know what? So many people have said something to me about my numbers, and let me lower them for you. So I lowered my numbers in that instant, trying to make everybody else feel better. And I'm confused on why are you concerned about my numbers when I do this all the time? So needless to say, I lowered the numbers and went out and performed. And I didn't know anything about, because of course I didn't read the rules. I didn't know anything about being able to change your last deadlift. So as far as I knew, I was in first place until the last deadlift. I went out, did my deadlift, and the other person changed their deadlift by 2.5 kilos so that they wouldn't tie me, because I would have won on body weight, so that they could beat me. And she pulled it, and I had no clue you could change it. So I lost and came in second place, and decided at that moment that I wanted revenge. So I signed up for the American Open. That was December 1st, and came back to compete against her, and I took first place. And I've been lifting ever since.
That's awesome. Just to make sure, I'm assuming that the meet director was me you're talking about, right?
Very much so.
Dang it.
Not only were you the meet director that intimidated me at my first competition, you end up being my coach.
I know. I really came full circle there.
Very much so.
I remember that meet.
And you've been getting payback on me ever since.
Ever since. I will not let you live that one down.
Oh, no. It's crazy. But hey, so you're in good company though, because that actually happened with Ray Williams too at his first USA powerlifting meet. I wasn't the meet director, but I was the chief referee, and we actually went and had a talk with him, like, hey, because he was opening with 800 pounds, which now is like, oh, that's nothing for him. But at the time, nobody had done anything like that. And that's kind of the same thing with you. Like when you came on the scene, nobody ever heard of you at that point.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like, I mean, now everybody knows who you are, but at the time, it's like, who is this person? I don't know. We just want to make sure everybody's safe and has a good time. And needless to say, fast forward, now we know who you are. So
Yes, thank God.
yeah. So that's kind of a good segue. We're gonna kind of go a little bit out of order here, but our new lifter tip that we posted on Saturday was, before you compete, read the rule book. And that's kind of coincidence that goes along with your story there. But I do think that a lot of people, they just jump into the meet and don't know you knew to wait on the commands and everything. So like you knew a lot of it, but a lot of people don't even know that you have to pause in the bench. They don't know that there's even commands from the referees at all. So I think, it's a good idea. I mean, I think this is kind of a no-brainer, but it's a good idea to get into the rule book and read before you actually show up and compete.
I agree. I don't even think I knew that there was a rule book. But I had done enough research to figure out that there were commands and that I needed to practice those commands. So that's what I spent that first month, or that only month, working on the commands and being okay with not hearing a command for deadlift. That was the one that freaked me out. I want you to tell me to go. Don't just look at me. Don't raise your hand at me. Tell me to go. But yeah, I think it's detrimental to read the rule book and know what's a good lift and what's not a good lift.
Right. And I think there's some people that come from the CrossFit background that sometimes when they cross over into powerlifting, we're glad to have them. But man, I've seen CrossFitters bomb out. I saw a CrossFit Games athlete bomb out of a meet because he found out about the rules the day before. And when it came to be the day of the meet, he just no brains and, bombed out.
Yeah. You got to practice.
Yes. It's huge.
Huge.
And then there's some things that we can get away with being a CrossFitter that we cannot get away with being a power lifter. So that too, you got to do your research.
Yep. So let's do a quick rapid fire questions for you, Lee.
I love these.
Yeah, see how you respond here. So
okay.
Favorite meet of all time?
South Africa, most definitely. That was a world competition.
What year was that?
That was my first Worlds, 2014.
Okay. Least favorite meet of all time?
Killeen, Texas. Need I say more? It was in
I thought
Killeen.
American Open was awful.
Oh, I came back and I beat my competition.
Oh, yes,
so.
That was a winning meet for you.
Yeah.
That was the meet that had no music. It was just poorly run. Josh ended up stepping in at the last minute. That meet was a cluster.
Yeah, no, it was Killeen for me. It was the coaching staff that picked your numbers. That it was horrible. It was horrible. Yeah.
So when all's said and done and you're done competing, how do you hope to be remembered?
Honest, truth, integrity, always pushing the bar, always trying to find new limits, trying to break that ceiling.
Yeah. Laura,
Beach
other
mountains.
Quick questions.
Feature mountains.
Which one?
Which one?
My
Beach
future
mountains.
A beach, most definitely. I'm a water baby, Pisces.
Gotcha. I should have wrote down some of these questions ahead of time.
That's okay.
Let's see. Who's your favorite? Ooh, this might be, you don't have to answer this one. Who's your favorite lifter to watch?
To watch?
To watch.
Oh, geez. Probably Kim Wofford.
Yeah.
And I say that because of the passion that she brings to it.
She's intense.
She is so intense.
Yeah.
And I love it. So it would probably be her. No shit show. Just let's get this done. And she knows when she's lifting and she's gonna drop it and she's gonna show you, cut it off. I'm done.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah. All right. So I think of some more topics here. We're gonna move on to our track of the week. So we've announced a different song each week from Josh Rohr's 2018 Power Ballades. This is the number 17, the last track that is on the CD. It's kind of a bittersweet for me. Like, I feel like we're the end of an era here. But we are going to get to it. So track number 17 is Bryan Adams, Straight from the Heart. First thoughts, Lara.
I didn't realize there were 2 tracks from Bryan Adams on that CD.
So you remember. So that was the fun fact I was going to say. It's the only artist that's on the CD twice.
That's legit, though.
It is legit.
That's perfect 80s power ballads, really.
Yeah. So I think what we're going to do going forward is we'll come up with some other, like, maybe top 5 lists for different genres. Not genres, but Lara will come up with her list. I'll come up with mine we'll come up with it. We'll figure it out.
80s.
So on the music note, obviously that's a big part of our podcast, Lee. So what do you typically listen to when you're training and competing?
I listen to gospel music. I'm a different lifter, so a lot of people like to get hyped. I like to center myself and calm myself and stay in tune with my body to feel what I'm moving. So I listen to a lot of gospel.
Yeah.
And then of course I like I'm So Happy, the one song that you did.
Oh my gosh. Are you serious? I hate
Yes!
that song so much.
That's usually what I listen to on my final deadlift.
The story behind that song.
The happy song?
Yes.
Yeah. I think the reason I hate it so much is was it my birthday? Is that why you were playing it?
Your birthday.
She put it on repeat at the gym and I didn't even realize it was just playing over and over and over. And I wasn't really focused on it, but the song got in my head and I was singing it for like weeks in my head to the point
it was 40 minutes before he realized.
Oh my God.
Like somebody else had to come to me and say, you have to stop this. You have to stop it. Please, you have to stop this.
Oh my
Josh
goodness.
didn't even notice.
Josh, that's like you in the paper clock and you didn't notice the time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
It takes me a little bit to catch on sometimes. But the problem with me is like now that song, like it still gets stuck in my head from that one day. Like every now and then it'll just, if I hear anything that just makes me think of it, it gets stuck in my head for like a week again.
Oh wow.
I see a text thread.
No ideas. No ideas here.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
Nice.
That's the worst. So one thing I want to touch on too, just because Lee, you're here. You are weird.
Thank you.
And I'm saying that because for a lot of people, they try to fit their lifting style or their technique to match other people. And we tried to do that with you. There were some things like, according to the textbook, we should make this change or this change, but at the end of the day, it just didn't work. So I guess I'm bringing it up just to say, like, you are a very, very successful lifter. So to say that, what you're doing is wrong is kind of not accurate. So I think for coaches out there and lifters that are, trying to get better, just because other people do it doesn't mean that's right for you as an individual.
Exactly correct. With me, all my life, I've always been that oddball. I call it being unique. You're supposed to feel this stretch here. I don't feel it there. I feel it here. You're supposed to be stronger here. I'm not stronger there. I'm stronger here. And it is being in tune with your body. And then going against the odds. It's okay to speak up and say, I'm uncomfortable, but this makes me feel some kind of a way. And it also shows up in the strength. So yeah, the textbook doesn't usually work for me. I kind of write my own textbook.
You do.
And
in fact, it's probably not even a textbook. Yours is probably like a memoir or what's the word for like the a blog. Yours is probably like a blog because textbook is what everybody else does. So you have to do it different.
Yeah. And I was the one that I said earlier about reversing diabetes. I did reverse my diabetes and I'm no longer medicated. So yeah, I don't fit in the box. I'm always outside the box, inside the triangle, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. You got to live outside the box.
Very much so.
It's the way to do it. So we're going to wrap it up here, but when's the next time you're competing and where, I guess?
Well, we started out saying that there was going to be a state meet in February, but somehow that got moved to March or April or who knows when. So I'm not really sure when is the next time I'm going to compete. The Arnolds are coming up, but we just got a little bit of literature on that. I'm not really sure about that. There's the nationals that they said won't go forward until after June. They'll make dates and stuff around the IPF calendar. And I think they said those that made the meet in 2019 and didn't get to compete for IPF, those would get first dibs on Worlds going forward. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I knew the answer. I knew that was a big question mark. I just want to see your response.
The cool thing is I have this amazing coach that likes to torture me a lot, and he just randomly picks dates for a mock meet. So maybe that'll be my next thing.
Maybe, you never know. This guy sounds like he's pretty cool. I'll have to get his contact info.
Yeah, get his contact info. Make sure he has something to drink in his hand, then he's cool. But if he doesn't have something to drink in his hand, he's a torturer.
Gotcha. So are you saying like an alcoholic drink? Are you saying that I'm not any fun unless I'm drinking alcohol, or are you saying like coffee?
I've never seen you drink coffee, so.
Actually, awesome. That answers that question.
I've seen you carry a water jug though, but we don't know if there's really water in there.
That's just a gallon of vodka.
Oh yeah.
It's what I need to get through the day.
Hey, we all have our thing. Mine is just go to the gym and lift.
Yep, that's funny. Cool. All right. Well, I think we're gonna call it a day there. But Lee, thanks so much for being on. You have anything else you want to add to the conversation for the good of the cause?
Yeah, I do. The one thing that I live by is beating myself on a daily basis. There's some days that it's just impossible. But know your body. Stop competing against other people. Do your best for you. And that's where your accolades come from. Pat yourself on the back for a job well done and keep it moving.
That's awesome. It's hard to do. And I think people are very bad at that, but I think you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep. Especially right now.
Yes. Especially right now. Yes. Enjoy life. Life's too short.
True.
Amen.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on, Lee. If you guys are listening, don't forget to follow us on follow us on Instagram at PL Ballads Podcast. And you can also shoot us an email, plballadspodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, thanks for tuning in, guys. Later.
Thanks, and bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.